Buzz, okay, K-pop fans, drama lovers, and culture defenders. Buckle up because today we're diving into one of the wildest cultural debates I've seen all year. And yes, it involves K-pop idols, grim reapers, demon hunters, and a whole lot of angry netizens, particularly why from China. So here's the situation: a new Netflix animated movie called K-pop Demon Hunters is gaining international attention. It's stylish, it's fresh, and it mixes K-pop idol culture with fantasy, action, and a bit of supernatural spice. The story follows a girl group of exorcists fighting against a boy group made up of grim reapers. Yep, you heard that right. It's the K-pop multiverse we never knew we needed. But not everyone's cheering, because even though Netflix isn't officially available in China, Chinese netizens are slamming the animation. Why? They're claiming that K-pop Demon Hunters is plagiarizing Chinese culture. And the comments aren't just minor critiques. They're full-on accusations that Korea stole elements from China for this film. So what's being called out? Some Chinese viewers say that the movie features Chinese knots and other cultural designs that they believe are originally Chinese. They're claiming that these are not Korean traditions and that the film is misrepresenting, or worse, stealing Chinese culture. Now here's the spicy part. Professor Seo Kyung-deok of Sungshin Women's University stepped in, and y'all, he did not hold back. He called the backlash completely absurd and told Chinese netizens to wake up. He pointed out that it's strange how so many Chinese netizens are reviewing and criticizing a movie on Netflix when, technically, Netflix isn't even available in China. So how are they watching it? That's right, through illegal streaming or VPNs. Professor Seo didn't let that slide either. He said the bigger issue isn't just the cultural claims. It's that illegal viewing has become a daily occurrence in China, and what shocked him more is that there's no sense of shame about it. That's some bold honesty right there. Personally, I found that point really interesting. Like, how are you going to accuse someone of stealing culture while watching the content illegally? It's giving I broke into your house to tell you your couch looks like mine. Make it make sense. But this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of cultural clash between Korea and China. There have been long-running debates over who owns certain cultural symbols, hanbok, kimchi, even traditional dances and music. And honestly, it's exhausting because culture is fluid, it overlaps. Countries influence each other all the time, especially ones with deep historical ties like Korea and China. So when an animated film uses certain symbols, it's not necessarily copying. It could also be representing a regional aesthetic or using inspiration in a respectful way. That being said, I do think creators, whether Korean, Chinese, or from anywhere, should do their research and be mindful of the symbols they're using. But that's not what's happening here. The people who made K-pop Demon Hunters are Korean creators telling a story based on Korean mythology, Korean pop culture, and Korean fantasy elements. So when someone watches it and claims this is Chinese culture being stolen, without even knowing the context or the cultural overlap, it starts to sound more like nationalism than actual cultural critique. And that brings me to you. Guys, what do you think? Do you believe K-pop Demon Hunters is genuinely using Chinese culture without credit? Or do you think this is another example of cultural gatekeeping that's gone too far? And do you think it's fair to criticize something so harshly when it hasn't even officially released in your country and was watched through unofficial means? Let's be honest. Korean culture has been on a massive global rise for the past decade. From BTS and Blackpink to Parasite and Squid Game, the world has fallen in love with K-content. And with that rise has come a lot of jealousy, especially from neighboring countries who used to see themselves as the cultural leaders. I'm not saying China doesn't have rich cultural heritage, it absolutely does. But sometimes, criticism like this feels more like a reaction to Korea's growing soft power than to the actual content being criticized. And here's the thing, this isn't just about a movie. It's about how culture is being policed online, who gets to own what, and how quickly something beautiful like cultural storytelling can turn into a political battleground. I mean, the very idea of storytelling is rooted in blending. Mythologies evolve, art borrows, music transforms. That's how culture spreads. That's why you can have K-pop infused with hip-hop, jazz, EDM, and yes, even traditional Korean instruments all in the same album. And that's awesome. So why is it suddenly unacceptable for Korean animation to include design elements that may look similar to other East Asian traditions? Especially when those designs might actually belong to Korea too, or have been shared by both cultures for centuries. Let's talk about the Chinese knots claim for a second. These decorative knots are used in both Korean and Chinese traditional attire in Korea. They're called medup, and you'll find them in hanbok accessories, temple decorations, and more. Just because something appears in Chinese culture doesn't mean it only belongs to China. There's nuance here, but nuance doesn't always go viral, does it? What does go viral is a strong accusation like Korea stole this. And that's what makes these situations so tricky. We end up arguing about ownership instead of appreciating shared heritage or even asking the creators directly about their inspiration. I mean, did any of these critics even bother to ask the directors, Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans, what they researched, what references they used, who their consultants were? Probably not. Because outrage is easier than curiosity, and this is where I want to hear from you. As global K-pop fans, how do we draw the line between appreciation and appropriation? Between honoring culture and gatekeeping it? Because this kind of backlash isn't just happening in Asia. We've seen similar debates in the West too, like when idols wear cornrows or bindis or use indigenous imagery in music videos. So how do we find balance? For me, the key difference is context and intent. If you're using a cultural symbol to mock or stereotype it, that's wrong. But if you're using it with respect, in an attempt to honor or reflect something that's part of your own history or neighboring traditions, that's art. That's dialogue. And speaking of dialogue, let's talk about Professor Seo again. He didn't just defend the movie, he made a bigger point about respecting other cultures, too. He said that, before accusing others of stealing, we should learn how to appreciate and respect diversity. That really hit me because it's so easy to fall into a my culture is better than yours mindset, especially online. But the whole point of sharing culture is connection, understanding, growth. That's what K-pop has done so well, right? It's brought people from everywhere together. Different languages, backgrounds, beliefs, but the same excitement over music, dance, and now. Here's another question for you. How do you think this kind of backlash affects the future of Korean content on global platforms like Netflix? Do you think creators might start holding back, worrying they'll be accused of theft no matter what they include? Or do you think this will push Korean artists to be even more assertive, showing their roots proudly, saying this is ours and we're done apologizing for it? I personally hope for the second one, because Korean creators shouldn't have to second-guess their own culture just because someone overseas decides it looks too familiar. The way to move forward isn't by shrinking, it's by expanding the conversation, by showing the world that yes, Korea can mix tradition with modernity. And yes, K-pop idols can be demon hunters too. And yes, the rest of us are going to enjoy every second of it. So before I wrap up, here's your final challenge for the comments. Do you think this controversy was valid or overblown? Should artists be more cautious about cultural ownership? And finally, will K-pop demon hunters be the next global hit, or will this backlash slow it down? Let's keep it respectful, but let's have this conversation. Because whether you're Korean, Chinese, or a fan from somewhere else entirely, we all have something to learn from this. Alright, fam. Thank you for watching and diving into another wild canned moment with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Unyangbuzz family for more K-pop drama deep dives, cultural convos, and fandom reactions every week. And remember, culture isn't something we gatekeep, it's something we grow together. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep loving what you love. Annyeong.